And we are live. Wait, recording.
We live?
We should be live.
That's great. So we're here on Facebook Live with Team SI, Midday Roast at Team SI. And this is our weekly Facebook Live, our weekly podcast, where we talk about what's going on in marketing. And what's happened is we have a lot of great conversations around our office, and we've decided to, share those conversations with you and let you find out what's going on, the latest news in digital marketing and technology and with data. So this week we have a great team with us. I have Whitney Burgess, our Senior Account Executive. Whitney's been here almost every week, so really glad to have Whitney with us. And then we drug in our NFL expert because we're talking about the big game, the Super Bowl this week. Kyle McCourt. Kyle's our newest Senior Account Executive on our team, and happy to have him here. And he's got a lot of great digital experience to share with us, plus his football knowledge. So we've got a football to toss around. So pass that to Kyle.
Are you ready?
Whitney can actually catch. So one thing we want to do is we want to ask you guys out there as Facebook builds our audience. We want to ask you to go ahead and share the Facebook Live with us, and we're going to go in. And have y'all had problems with your Facebook app crashing?
I did the other day.
My Facebook app is crashing like once a day now.
Mine does if you get too far down the news feed.
Yeah, so I'm not sure what's going on with that. Facebook. If anyone from Facebook is listening, you need to fix your app.
Yeah, Zuckerberg.
I've shared mine. Have you already shared yours?
Shared mine.
Whitney's already shared. Kyle shared it. We'd like to ask you to go ahead and share it. The other thing we want you to do is encourage you to go ahead and like it and to comment and ask a question. If anyone deems to tune in and comment during the broadcast, we're actually going to give away one of our brand new Team SI coffee cups delivered this morning, and we'll mail that out to you. Grace will be in touch with you, and we'll mail that out to you. But you have to comment while we're live to get one. And we'll choose a comment and send it out. So first off, since this is Super Bowl, and let me say first of all, we're going to get to marketing. We're not just going to talk Super Bowl and big game the whole time. We're going to get to marketing and specifically talk about real-time marketing. But before we get there, we're going to do our Super Bowl predictions and see who we think is going to win the big game. If you're listening and you want to put your prediction of who you think is going to win, Grace will shout that out for you, and she'll be your voice. So, I was quizzing Whitney. Whitney's not the professed football expert, and she actually does know who's playing, which I was proud of her.
I do. Well, I'm a big football fan, but I like college more than I like professional.
Okay.
So I watch a lot more college SEC football. But I do think that for the Patriots, I think that it's going to bring a lot more, they're more senior than we're used to this. It's not going to be their first experience. I think it's going to keep them calm, keep them in the game. It's not like last year where it was so much intensity for both teams, so much on the line. So I think that this year Brady's really going to do really well to kind of keep that cool and collective there. And so I think I'd go for the Patriots. And one of my childhood friends used to play for the Patriots, so I'll pick them.
You want a name drop or?
Mitch Petrus from Carlisle, Arkansas.
Sweet. All right. Kyle, what's your prediction?
I'm going to go with the Atlanta Falcons just because it's their first time. This is only the second time I've ever been to the Super Bowl, and it's Matt Ryan's first time, and he's such a great quarterback. I just want to see him get there. As a long-standing Colts fan, I know what it's like to have an awesome team and just not be able to finish out a great season. So I'm hoping for the Falcons.
Okay, so I really am very unknowledgeable about football, specifically the NFL. But I do have a lot of friends in Atlanta who are cheering for the Falcons. Who've changed their Facebook profile for the Falcons. So I'm going to cheer for the Falcons just to, be bandwagon with my friends. So
We had a comment from Josh saying that he's going for the Patriots because the Falcons don't even know they are in the Super Bowl.
Oh,
wow.
It is their second time in the Super Bowl, so everyone thinks it's their first.
Right. So, anyway, everybody has a different opinion about that. But let's get to talk about marketing now. So specifically when you talk about the big game, the Super Bowl, what we get into is really, the Super Bowl and the Super Bowl advertising is not a place where most brands can play. Most big businesses cannot advertise in the Super Bowl. I think I read something this morning. It's $60,000 a second to to get started in the Super Bowl. A second, and of course you got about 30 seconds in a row, and then you have to pay production costs. So unless you have a $50-60 million marketing advertising budget, the Super Bowl is not a place you want to play. But that being said, the attention around the Super Bowl or any other big event is definitely a place a brand can play with real-time marketing and event marketing. And it's something that we do for our clients all the time around events. You know, an event brings something to highlight. It brings an event up and it brings an awareness. It makes people go search things. Twitter is the live event social media, even though you'll hear us say Twitter's not a social media platform that's growing anymore, but it is the one during a live event that people turn to see what's going on and have more news and information. And basically, anytime there's a massive cultural event, something is a great place for real-time live marketing. So let's go ahead and get started. Talk about really just basic steps for a small business or a brand of any size, how they can get involved and jump on the Super Bowl, the big game bandwagon. Whitney, how about you? Start out.
So one of the things that I've seen, especially with real-time marketing, one of my clients I work with, B2B company, they had basically like their CEO person was going to be speaking at a national event. So it was like, well, how can we really capitalize on this momentum that's happening? So what we did is we used Twitter as a place to target keywords and hashtags and really try to catch the momentum of what was going on. And so to see if that would kind of draw a buzz, and we tested out 3 different ad units to kind of see what was going to bring it in. Was it a picture of, this person speaking and then their photos also in the ad unit? Is that what's going to drive it? And that one actually, no big surprise, that one did have a better click-through rate. But it was able to get us in front of people who weren't really talking about us. And so that was a huge opportunity it was timely. We only had about a 3-day, 4-day span that we could even try to run this wave. So that was a big advantage there, and I saw it really useful. Another place that I've seen it outside of my client's experience is looking at what you're talking about with live events. Television shows are still doing Twitter chats and being able to, they want access to the people who are on it, right? So it's a great way for businesses to think about if you do have something that's going to be happening on broadcast or a way that you've got some national attention, it's having access with people who usually don't have the ability to talk to. Maybe it's for, a time just 140 characters back and forth, and that's a great way of seeing it as well. With the Super Bowl in particular, knowing that people are not going to be fast forwarding through commercials, it's about experience. They're going to be with people. So really kind of capturing that audience's attention. And you're right, they go straight to Twitter. I mean, I remember when Drew Morgan got ejected from the last Razorback football game, I went to Twitter to find out why he got ejected because it wasn't on TV.
So what do you do on Twitter specifically? So you're going to Twitter and you find out about Drew Morgan. So are you just looking through your friends, or what are you looking for?
I searched through hashtags. I looked through,
Okay, quick. If you don't know what a hashtag is, explain to us what a hashtag is, Kyle.
So hashtag uses the pound sign, and essentially you can use that for events. Yes, hashtag. And you can use it for events, or you can use it for a specific cause or your brand, something like that. So, or if you have a location that you're in, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's just a pound sign and then a quick phrase.
No spaces.
That illustrates your brand, your cause, your event, what the topic of your tweet is specifically about. Hashtags are also used on Instagram,
right.
A little bit on Facebook.
It's essentially a category. Like if you were looking for how are people categorizing something, it's a way to unify anything that comes up under that category.
All right, so now back to your story. You found people looking for a specific
Yes.
hashtag. In this case, with Drew Morgan, it was...
I think I looked up Arkansas Razorbacks, and I started there, and then followed through. And I mean, even within 10 seconds of time, there was 100 plus tweets that everybody's going through. So it's very real time, and people are looking for those solutions. So I used hashtag to search for it, and that's really how Twitter works. Is you're trying to connect with people who are all talking about the same topic. So that's where I've seen it really be effective in real time, even from a business perspective and for mine. But so I think Twitter's also a great place where people are talking about sports. It's a very heavy male-dominated platform, and so Super Bowl plus males plus talking about things and wanting to all connect with each other. Twitter's going to be a great place for Super Bowl real-time marketing.
Exactly. So,
I was going to say that also with the hashtags, it's a great way to engage with people, because you can click on that hashtag and at them with your brand name to be able to talk to them and engage with them to make them follow you.
Yeah, that's right. It's definitely a place for your brand to not just tweet at people, but get in the middle of the conversation and engage people. And actually, I think some of the most fun moments is when brands engage with each other. When you see two brands talking to each other and going about each other to make that happen. And I love to see that during a live event.
Absolutely. And I think Snapchat is getting there too.
Oh, yeah.
Even though it's not as male dominated, but like for instance, last night they had the Cavs versus Timberwolves, and there was a contest where if the Timberwolves allowed the Cavs to score more than 100 points, everyone that came to the game got free chicken McNuggets for McDonald's or something like that. And so you have all these people they're sort of on edge, and they're all sending these snaps at the same time to see if this guy's going to make a shot to break $100. So it was just a really fun thing to see, going back through all the stories and seeing like all these people like, we're going to get free nuggets, and then just the celebration. It was really cool thing to have at this big live event, that I wasn't at, but it was really cool.
That's cool. And from an advertising just divert to Snapchat for a second. From an advertising platform, Snapchat's about to blow up and become huge. They're opened up their API. There's a lot of different tech vendors. They're adding programmatic on top of that, so you can target people. The price to get into Snapchat is about to drop. So it's about to, and of course Snapchat's about to go public. So what's going to happen is they're going to open up. They're going to have a huge revenue boost. A lot of it's going to open the platform up where anyone can reach some millennials on Snapchat, millennials and below, actually. So it's
just a cool way to interact with people. Like Gatorade, I think last year's Super Bowl, Gatorade had a fantastic lens where you got to experience having Gatorade dumped on you, like a winning coach kind of thing. So that was massively popular. I think it actually had more snaps than in terms of people than the people that actually watched the Super Bowl. So.
Wow. And I think, whether or not you talk about Snapchat or Twitter or Instagram and hashtags, I think it's real important that whatever you're doing fits your brand. I mean, that's a perfect fit. Use a lens on Snapchat to show Gatorade, show what you look like for Gatorade.
Well, and understanding the value, like the platform and the audience are what controls the message, right? So, putting that same filter, or even if it's just a picture of a Gatorade bottle above you, it's not going to have the same impact on Facebook or on Twitter because the image isn't the same. Instagram's not going to have the same because it doesn't it moves. So really understanding who is the audience on the platform and how can they interact with the brand.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a big part of the game. It's also just being prepared. So, I mean, you definitely want to react to the content of what's happening in the live event for the Super Bowl. If the Patriots are winning or the Falcons are winning, there's something you can play along with. But it's also making sure when you're before the game, you're prepared. A big brand, they really have a social media center before the game where everybody will come around at the conference table. They'll have all their feeds up on TV screens around them. But even, if you're sitting in front of your couch for your local business, you can take advantage of that. Make sure you've got some images prepped because you want to have an image. We discussed that. You want to have an image on your post, whatever it is, because that's going to get attention. But have that image prepped and ready to go. And then you have to move quick. You can't wait for 8 hours or 4 hours or even 2 hours after the game. That peak on that hashtag is happening right in that moment in the game, and you have to strike while the iron's hot and act right then in the game.
Yeah, I think that's going to be, that kind of preparation and planning is the difference between I put it up 20 minutes after the fact and I went viral within 30 seconds because I was in real time.
So, the best example that everyone knows is the Oreo example, where Oreo kicked off the Super Bowl when the Superdome went black, went dark, and, Oreo's like you can still dunk in the dark.
Yeah.
Nobody expected it. Everybody in that waiting moment, it's perfect. Everybody turned to Twitter and to social media to take up their times because the commenters were just talking and they weren't showing commercials anymore that people were paying attention to. So, Oreo kind of broke the mold to make it happen and taught everyone how to do real-time marketing.
So one of the things that I want to ask you about, Lenny, what are your thoughts about, the Super Bowl has taken their advertising to being limited to only during the game, and now they put them online, and sometimes they even release them early. Is that something that, we have the ability to kind of target the behavior or people who are interested in that, or like from a video perspective on different channels, how can we kind of use their momentum for businesses?
So, already there's lots of ways. There's lots of targeting platforms. with the Google Ad Network and with Twitter, where we can actually target people who are watching specific events. Super Bowl is one of them, but we can actually target people who watch a specific television show. So we can kind of piggyback on top of events and to target people in that advertising platform. But also just surrounding the event, specifically with Super Bowl, a lot of the ads, the brands that are on the Super Bowl, some of them have had, Skittles Super Bowl commercial has been out for a while. They've released a Super Bowl commercial. They're getting hype beforehand. Other brands, like there's a commercial with John Malkovich, and they haven't released the commercial, but they've kind of released all these previews around that. And I really like that concept. And even, from a real time, you can't play in the game, but you can play around the game. I think it's fun to go ahead and start engaging with people like, hey, we're going to have fun during Super Bowl. Pay attention to us. Engage with us. You start tweeting at people about the Super Bowl. Let them know that you're going to be, playing around, and let's have some fun. We're a place that's going to be fun, and that really reflects well on your brand. That shows the maturity of your brand, and it shows your the authenticity of your brand in that moment.
And then afterwards, I know that it's always a very popular office conversation, right? What was your favorite ad? And there's always people going through and searching, whether it's through just going to Google or going to YouTube and typing a search term to find this commercial. Like, oh, did you see this one? It's like, oh, I missed it. I was refilling my salsa or whatever.
Right.
And so it's kind of capitalizing on that too. When all those people are going to have that really high search volume on specific ads, you know what they were because you saw the Super Bowl, right?
Right.
So
yeah, and you can go ahead and just play those keywords.
Absolutely.
You can do
pre-roll videos.
Yeah.
pre-roll videos right into that space that people are going to be watching it. So other ways that you can jump on the bandwagon without spending, $3 to $5 million to buy that 1 30-second spot.
Well, and I think it's also, something that we've talked about before is using it as a way to help define your creative. So if you know that somebody, maybe you're targeting people who are searching for the halftime event and who they're going to be and who's performing. Well, that tells you a whole lot about who the potential audience is. Who is that entertainer already targeting? And so then your creative can reflect that, how your brand can relate to that age range, that demographic. Those are things to look into it. Maybe it needs to have more high energy music because the performance was super high energy, or maybe it was, more of a retro band. And so, okay, well then those people might be more likely to search for it. So it gives you, creatively things to think about. And I think even to your point about Office, how great would it be if you really thought about you planned your creative and it was like, okay, before it's all about the hype and the sports kind of reflection, and then afterwards it's more like the office interaction and the banter because it's the water cooler talk, right?
Absolutely.
So I think that's cool to think about too.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of different ways to actually connect with the Super Bowl. So let's take it out of the big game context. Let's just talk about just a regular event that's happening in your community, in your town. I think something that happened in Little Rock and later on the first weekend in March is the Little Rock Marathon. And there's a lot of, the big fitness community, there's a lot of volunteers that come out. Let's brainstorm some examples real quick of how people could use the Little Rock Marathon and the social media chat around that to promote their brand.
Well, obviously we talked about hashtags, and so you definitely want to get involved with whatever the Little Rock Marathon organizers have set as their hashtag, and kind of follow who's a part of that conversation already, or who will be a part of that.
That's your prep work. So, get involved with the conversation, follow the conversation, get involved with it. Okay, how do you get what's another piece of the prep work for the Little Rock Marathon?
I think it would be coming up with a message that's going to connect with that audience that's going to make sense. Like, it doesn't make sense for us.
Fitness, endurance.
Yes, it's got to be related around that topic. But it also doesn't mean it's limited to only those brands.
Right.
It just means that you've got to be smart and strategic about how you're connecting your brand to it. Because you can't just go in with a regular brand message. It's going to be missed.
Yeah, I think the other piece of that puzzle with the marathon too, the real time piece of it. So you've got your message, you've connected with the brands. Little Rock Marathon, the weather's always crazy. So either we're going to have good weather, or it's going to sleet, or it's going to be rainy. So that's part of being in the moment, in real time, paying attention, knowing what's going on. You don't want to prep a sunny picture and hope everybody has a great race day, and if it's sleeting outside, you want to have bundle up and stay warm during your race. You can make it.
Right.
Is your message.
Well, and I think also thinking about during the race, the people who are competing are not going to be the ones, or most likely not going to be the ones who are actually interacting, it's going to be the people who are cheering them on. So the message is going to change during the race based on, because the audience is changing.
That's exactly right. And then afterwards, of course, it's congratulations. You
Right.
did it. You made it. You know, everyone that finishes a marathon or a half is a winner.
Right. Send us your pictures, and we want to offer you a discount. Or, you know, especially like if you're on the trail, or if you're downtown where it ends, like you should definitely be firing those up and saying, go ahead and come see us. You know, marathon runners welcome, and we want to help you celebrate.
We'll give you a free
Right.
beer if you bring in your race tag. So
Right.
yeah, something like that. Cool. Grace, do we have any questions?
No questions. We just
No
had
questions. Tips.
From Josh again. He said, always have Photoshop up and ready, even if you don't have your graphics ready, because you never know what's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. That's cool.
So.
Well, that brings up a great point. Grace, I know you're off camera, but can you talk to us about some of the compliance issues with Super Bowl, like just things that we have to be aware of?
I would be really aware of using the word Super Bowl, because we're just talking about it freely and not promoting anything right now. We're okay to say that, but just be aware. For example, if a huge brand uses a commercial and says, gear up for the Super Bowl. If you notice right now, a lot of people are using get ready for the big game, because the NFL Commission actually owns the keyword, the Super Bowl. So be aware of that, look it up, and just know the rules and follow the rules, because if the Super Bowl hits you, it's going to be a huge price to pay.
Yeah, you don't want to get into a fight with a football league.
Yeah, especially the NFL Commission.
Right.
And that plays into logo. I mean, like, definitely you can't use either of the team's logos or any trademark from them or the NFL logo, Super Bowl logo. All of those things are going to be off limits for graphics. So it's to Josh's point, do have Photoshop ready. Go ahead and have know what your substitute is going to be. If you're going to go with big game or pro game or whichever, then you've got that kind of logo ready, because you're not going to be able to use a trademarked logo.
Good tips. Good tips.
Jamie Moody says, Kyle, you're looking good.
Thank you very much.
Wow. Kyle's got his fan club. His first appearance on here. He's already got his fan club. Any last thoughts before we close? Whitney, Kyle,
Facebook?
I think it's interesting. One of the things that you mentioned was you have friends that are changing their profile photos. It's a great way. It's a great behavior, an easy thing to target on Facebook. It's a great way to follow that. One of the things is, I'd say, stay positive. Be aware of that what you do say as a brand will have reactions, positive and negative, based on, what's going on. So think through it. Don't just post anything, like, all the things we're saying in, like, real time. Pay attention. You got to be in the moment, but you still need to make sure you're on brand, you're on message, and that you're ready for, you got to man those comments. I think that you need to, you can't just put it out there and think that nobody might react to it.
Rally the
Definitely
troops.
right.
Yeah.
Rally the troops. I mean, actually, that's a great point too. Rally the troops is almost like have your own, fan club that's going to help you boost your message and
Yes.
retweet and reshare and respond. Go ahead and plant some comments out there to help you out.
Yeah.
All right, Kyle, last closing moments.
I agree with what Whitney said, and just make sure it's a fun thing, and you don't want something out there that's super rigid and seems a little too, I definitely want to prepare, but you don't want to sound too prepared. You want to still sound very natural and fun, so
Right.
be
Definitely.
engaging that way.
So really appreciate Kyle joining us for the first time today. Kyle will be back.
Yeah, Kyle.
Of course, we always appreciate Whitney's participation. And now we're going to hand off back to you. So thank you guys for joining us.
God.
And Grace actually caught that, so you didn't see her do that off screen. And we're proud of Grace for doing that. But appreciate y'all joining us today. And if you want to leave comments after the video's over, after we're not live, we'll answer in the comments. Also, we've launched a podcast. You can go look for our podcast. You can go to our Facebook page, and there'll be a link there. You can go to iTunes and look for the podcast, and you can just subscribe to our podcast and listen to us there. Also, the video for this will be posted on our Facebook page with the blog about that, so that's something great for you to go back and review. If Whitney or Kyle said something that you said, hey, I just want to hear that again, so you can go check it out there. Thanks so much for joining us.